Hey everybody, this week we've got Bam Margera, we've got American Crime Story, we've got the story of Ray Combs and Family Feud, and we've got the story of David Carradine. Name the number one stop for Cheeseman drama? Survey says the Drama Club. Stay tuned.
What up, fam? It's good, y'all. Feels good, right? Yeah, I know it do. And without further ado, we broadcasting live from CA to
May, are you okay?
No, because now I'm all hot and I was picking up boxes.
What the fuck? Boxes? What you trying to build a clubhouse?
Girl, you know you don't need a box for a clubhouse. You just need some pillows, some blankets,
A sheet, a couple of paperweights. Oh, my coworker from Dubai didn't know what a paperweight was, and that was like a fun thing to explain.
Oh, but what is the purpose of a paperweight? Like, people have never heard of a book.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah, you could use other things as paperweights, but it's just like a perfect small, heavy thing.
You have one?
Yeah.
What kind? Like, what is it?
It's an American flag. Howell's mom got it for me from Washington, D.C.
Aww.
Yeah, and I use it. I used it ever since I started working.
That's adorable.
Mhm.
I thought you were gonna say it was like a rock.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I like those rock ones.
Yeah.
Those like call to nature type ass ones.
Or like if you were like real fancy, it would be like something jade or something.
Ooh,
Like if you were like a businessman.
yeah. All right. Anyways, so last week, Bam Margera, who, for those of you who don't know, was a professional skateboarder turned stuntman who famously was part of the Jackass crew and then had several spin-offs.
This is some early 2000 shit.
Yeah, he was somebody who's famous 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And like even at that time, barely famous,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, very
Yeah.
niche sort of fame.
Yes. Very MTV level
Mhm.
fame. So he had somewhat of a breakdown and he requested help from Dr. Phil, of all people.
Well, if that's the only doctor you know.
Well, what he said was that he's been to 28 doctors, including 4 rehabs, and that
Yo.
Dr. Phil is the only doctor he trusts.
Wow. That's I don't know if that's a good thing, my guy.
He said that when he watches the show that he's like, yes, that's what I would have said. And like, yes,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
Well, do you want a doctor that agrees with you 100% of the time though?
No.
Right? Like, I wonder, so is Bam Margera saying that when he would have been confronted with the Cash Me Outside girl, when he agreed with what Dr. Phil said, he said, you know what? That's the doctor for me.
And in the midst of like requesting this help, which he says is because he has like he's an alcoholic and has problems with drugs. He kind of like aired his dirty laundry. So he's been married twice, but he has one child from his last marriage. And he says that his ex-wife uses their son as like a negotiation standpoint with him.
Oh,
and
like
shit.
I won't let you see your son if that's bad
Yeah.
news, man.
That sucks so bad. And what I thought was kind of interesting also was he called out his mom, who his parents were famously part of Jackass and like his spin-off shows. Like he lived with them and he seemed to have a good relationship with them, but he called her out saying that my mom doesn't care if I die and I don't like they have a strained relationship and shit. So I feel bad. He definitely needs help. Not from Dr. Phil, but
So how did this come out?
he just like took to fucking social media, started asking Dr. Phil for help.
Oh, so it wasn't even like, hey, I've been working. Hey guys, just wanted to give you an update on my life. Been working with Dr. Phil. No, he was like at
No.
Dr. Phil. I need help.
Yes. Yes. And Dr. Phil reached out and was like, come meet with me.
Damn, because you know he was trying to get that paper. He's trying to put that shit on TV.
Hell yeah, he's trying to get some of that. What is that? Like 30-year-old MTV family.
I could be wrong because I didn't watch the show, but I feel like his wife and daughter and kid, I don't know. I don't remember if it was a daughter. Did you say it was a daughter?
I don't know if
anyway,
it's a daughter.
so the wife and kid, they were on the show, I think.
I don't know.
Huh.
His first wife was on a show with him.
Okay.
I don't know if the second wife was also on a show.
Okay, I see.
He was also on like, because then he did, then the Jackass thing and like his own shows that kind of had its moment in time and passed. So then he started doing like reality TV spots like Fit Club. Like he got really big and then tried to lose all this weight and shit.
He got really big?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's like bigger now than he had been when he was younger.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. That's just age. I think he's 40 now.
Huh. Man, that's a blast from the past.
That is super blast from the past. If my life is ever in shambles, I'm requesting help from Dr. Dre. I just want you guys to know.
I need a doctor?
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely not going to be Dr. Phil.
Who would be my doctor? Not Dr. Phil, not Dr. Drew.
Seriously, dude, Dr. Drew, hella problematic.
My doctor would be Doc McStuffins. Or
what's the name of the doctor from Jurassic Park?
I don't know.
That mad scientist.
Yeah, I was gonna say the doctor from The Simpsons. Hi, Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, Dr. Nick.
I was gonna send you a shit today that I saw about The Simpsons, a little thread that was like so good. It talked about how The Simpsons is dubbed in other countries.
Oh my god! Send it to me.
And it was like in French is weird because they dub it for Montreal or for Quebec, I should say, and they dub it for France. And so people have like their reasons for liking one and not the other, and vice versa.
That's cool.
And then they showed that like in France it's just a straight dub. Like if they're talking about the United States president or something, like the one where like George Bush is like one of the characters, it'll just be like George
like
Bush.
His neighbor, right?
Yeah. And then but in the Quebec version, they'll change it to something local to Quebec, so it'll be like a former prime minister. Or something like that. So like they showed like a little like a side-by-side comparison, and it's real good. It's funny.
That's awesome.
You hear about American Crime Story?
Ooh, I did, which is exciting.
Yes.
So American Crime Story is going to do the Lewinsky scandal. Not just the Lewinsky scandal, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Lewinsky scandal.
It's all the Lewinsky
yeah,
scandal?
and our girl awesome. Monica signed up as one of the producers, which is dope.
Good for her. Yeah. I just starred this thing. I saw that she wrote a piece for the New York Times or something. Did you see that?
Recently?
Yeah, about the scandal again. Like just like thinking about it. I mean, like I'm sure like I wonder how she'll feel about it. Like every decade of her life, it must change.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And as the times change.
The last time I heard her talk about it, this is like since Me Too, so maybe like last year, she spoke really eloquently about it. She talked about the last time she saw Ken Starr, which was really the first time she saw him because ironically, they never met during the whole scandal. She ran into him like at a restaurant in New York like a few years ago. And she said just how that made her feel, and that now that she was an adult and she has, she's been through so much, like she has her family or whatever. And yeah it was interesting. She's a fascinating person, man.
Oh, yeah. She's tough as fuck. Does she have children?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I feel like she does.
Well, it's cool to see also just episodes that we've done, like kind of get picked up by stuff too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and I was totally, just remembering Sharon Tate and shit.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, May?
No, not yet.
All right.
I really want to see this American Crime Story because I liked the two previous seasons. I like the OJ season more than the Versace season.
Yeah,
but they were both good, and I think that I'm really pumped for this because this is what they were trying to do before the Versace season, but I guess it never came together.
Oh, okay. I kind of didn't like Penelope in the Versace story. I just don't think I liked her like that too, like in that look.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh,
it should have been Lady Gaga.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. But yeah, also it's gonna be Beanie Hill.
No.
Sorry, what's her name?
I don't know.
Feldstein.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Good for her. That'll be good for her career for sure.
And Sarah Paulson is playing Linda Tripp.
Yeah.
I hope she gets to wear like crazy makeup and shit.
I hope is Sarah Paulson a producer of like the American
I don't
Horror and
know.
Crime Stories? I fucking hope so by now.
And I don't know her name, but I do like the actress that they got to play Paula Jones. That's the other big cast member that they announced. She was in the Versace one. She played Andrew Cunanan's friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, but I'm super pumped for this. I feel like it's got to be good because Monica's involved, which, yeah, fine. Let's tell your story, girl. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. This is a perfect forum to do that, too.
Yeah. I really want them to do John Bonet after this, too.
Oh, my God, May.
Yeah.
We should do a John Bonet episode just because we could probably talk about it for fucking hours.
I do want to do a John Bonet episode, but that one I've been kind of like saving, like
yeah,
like that, like that's gonna be
we need some time.
That's gonna be like one of our holiday specials. Like we gotta.
Who do you think did it?
Oh,
let's just get down to it.
I've got my theory, but I want to save it for that episode.
Me too. God damn it! Why'd you bring it up then? This is fucked up. Somebody was trending this morning and I was like, did you see Beto O'Rourke clap back at Donald Trump?
Yeah, he did. Didn't he say like fuck him or something? Yeah. Like literally fuck him.
Yeah, I like Beto. I don't like him as like the Democratic.
Yeah, not for president, but
yeah, exactly. But I do like him.
Yeah, absolutely run for Senate again. You could win, my guy. Yeah. Drop out.
Yeah. And he's doing good. Like I like his clapback too. That shit just made me like him even more. Is Eric Andre really with Halle Berry?
What?
I had heard that somewhere, and I was like, girl.
Damn, he pulls bitches.
I think he must be awesome, right? Did you hear her? I started laughing. What up, everyone? My name is Stef.
Hey, guys. My name is May, and together we are the Drama Club.
Thank you for listening. This is the podcast all about celebrities, scandals, gossip, drama, biographies, social media, TV, movies. What's good?
All of the above.
Hey, yo, Miley, what's good? Every time I see that, I'm like, you should be fucking embarrassed, honestly. Nikki.
Who, Nikki? Or like, are you fighting with that little girl?
Yeah, like, are you kidding? You're trying to act all hard? Like,
every time
you ain't gotta act hard.
Every time I see that, my eye goes straight to Rebel Wilson in the background, who looks like a thick sex doll, because she goes like this.
I never noticed that. I gotta watch it now.
On a related note, why are there not any thick sex dolls?
I don't know, dude. Can I ask, like, I don't know. I'm raising my hand just for those of you who can't see.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
You know, like those tacky, like, blow-up dolls?
Mm-hmm. That's the one I'm talking about.
Do people actually have sex with those, maybe?
Yeah.
Because they look so... It looks like it would be painful.
People have sex with everything. People have sex with the space between your mattress.
I know people do that. That's disgusting.
People have sex with like cantaloupes. They put it in the microwave.
That's so disgusting. It's not people. It's men.
This is a podcast about men who have sex with cantaloupes.
One time I told you I saw that Reddit thing that was like it was like an Ask Reddit about sex workers, and they were like, tell us like some crazy stories. And this woman said she had a client who was like a 40-year-old virgin and that she tried everything. Like she rode him all over the place. She provided fellatio. She was fucking working. But that fool had masturbated his whole life by like sticking his dick in between two mattresses, and like literally that's the only thing he could do to get off because he fucking ruined himself.
To each his own, man. I hope he has the best mattress money could buy.
Hey, baby,
you got that Tempur-Pedic.
You better save up for the best Tempur-Pedic,
the adjustable one, so it can move with like a remote and shit. Yep, that's all you need, baby.
Make it special.
Name a part of the body that gets bigger as adults get older. Pretty penis.
Who goes first?
I don't know.
I have a feeling that it's you.
I think it's me also. Yeah, it's me.
What
All right.
was the last twofer?
I don't know. I was just like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Different Strokes and Karen Carpenter.
Dude, Different Strokes fucking... That shit's crazy. I actually found this picture and I was going to post it, but then I felt kind of sad about it. It was... Who's the other boy in Different Strokes?
Todd Bridges.
Todd Bridges tweeted a picture of him and the two other kids, the girl and the guy, and the
dad.
Conrad. And he said, I miss my family or something. I know, it was really sweet. And it had it was super early Twitter too. It was really cute.
Wow. Remember when Twitter used to be just not a pit of despair?
Yeah, seriously. I still love Twitter though.
I mean, I still do also, but it used to be just so light and happy, and now it's...
And fun. Yeah. And you could talk to celebrities on the regular. Now it's become a thing to be a celebrity on Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, I'm doing the story of Ray Combs.
Yes. This is Diddy's dad.
No, it's not. It's also kind of like Family Feud, which is funny because we were just talking about you doing Different Strokes.
Yeah.
I also got this by looking at a list of all the True Hollywood stories. And I was like,
good.
who dis? So Family Feud is an American television show. It's not a show I've ever honestly watched, but it's just kind of a staple of TV in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. You've never seen it, not even once?
No, I've seen it, but I don't watch it. Yeah.
I like those when when they have those clip shows. I haven't seen one of these clip shows for a long time, but they used to be the funniest game show moments.
Yeah, VH1 used to do shit like that.
Yeah, and
then they would have a panel of comedians who would comment on that shit.
Yeah. I miss shows that.
We could be on a show like that.
Oh, 100%.
I saw you tweet at E.
Oh yeah, because did you hear the shakeups that are happening over there?
No, what happened?
So they're basically laying off everyone who works at E! News. They're moving the show to New York, and it's going to be a morning show. And then they're filling the evenings that used to be E! News with panel shows, a talk show, and all this other shit.
That is perfect for us.
Yep.
I could interview some bitches.
We could be the bitches being interviewed. We're versatile.
She rode him all over the place. All right, so Family Feud is a game show created by this man, Mark Goodson, where two families featuring 5 contestants each compete to name the most popular responses to survey questions. Mm-hmm. The contestants can be any age, which is part of what makes it so funny.
Yeah.
And they win cash and prizes depending on how many of the most popular responses they can guess. It's actually very entertaining.
And if you ever play, you can play it on your phone and stuff, and it's real fun.
Yeah. The show has had 3 separate runs. The first run was from 1976 to 85, then 88 to 95, and then starting back up in 1999 to present. Mm-hmm. So it's been on the air for almost 40 straight years.
That's what we call a television institution.
That's it right there. Family Feud had some drama with the original host, Richard Dawson, back in the 70s, who consistently would fight with the show's producers. Nonetheless, he won a Daytime Emmy Award, and he ended up becoming a super diva who was basically impossible to work with.
Yeah.
He was known for kissing female contestants on air.
You know what? I just realized I thought this was who we were talking about.
No.
Oh, okay. So then I don't know what we're talking about. Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, so he would kiss female contestants on air, which is obviously a huge problem.
Yeah.
And he would just do other really shitty things.
Yeah, and he would take up their personal space also. He would be all up on the women. It was weird.
Yeah, almost like a drunk, which maybe he was.
Maybe.
Yeah. After season 2, the show was already a huge hit. this dude, Richard Dawson, allegedly flew to Hawaii and he called up the producers and he was like, I'm going to be unable to mentally perform and fly back to the US and host the third season unless you like triple my salary.
That's a flex right there.
That's a fucking move. But in the end, in the fall of 1985, the show was canceled and the first round was officially over.
Okay.
And that brings us to our boy Ray Combs, who is the main topic of this episode.
Okay, cool.
Of this portion of this episode.
All right.
Ray was a stand-up comedian who ended up signing on as the host of Family Feud during its second run from 1988 to 93. He was born on April 3rd, 1956 in Ohio, and he started doing comedy in the 70s during his 20s, and after getting some encouragement from David Letterman, he moved his family straight up from Indianapolis to LA in order to pursue comedy full-time.
Mm-hmm.
He did pretty good in competitions and started working as a warm-up comedian for live studio audiences. So, I don't know if people know about this, so if you live in LA or around LA, if you can sign up to be like an audience of a live studio like sitcom or like Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, all those shows, and like they get you there kind of early because they're setting up and shit, and they usually have like a comedian making you laugh and literally just warming you up before the actual show starts filming.
Yeah. And then they give you all like the rundown and the rules. Not that there are many rules, but they'll be like, you're not at home, laugh out loud. Instead of just like, when you're watching TV, you're just like, huh, that was funny.
Yeah. And they'll like do little they'll give away shit.
Yeah.
They kind of like rile you up.
Yeah.
So that when the show starts filming, you're super loud and shit.
They're what the porn industry calls fluffers.
Fluffers. Yep. Let's say it all together once again.
Fluffers.
En español,
fluffers.
Fluffer. Fluffy. That was the name of my first dog. R.I.P. baby. P.O.P. Hold it down. Fluffy, I love you. Okay. So Ray became that. He became the fluffer for live studio audiences. Yeah. But he was really, really good. So he became so good that certain sitcoms started working around Ray's schedule so that he specifically was warming up their audiences.
That's so funny because you usually think of like laugh tracks,
Yeah, totally.
But they're real audiences.
Yeah. While on set one time, Johnny Carson heard the audience's laughs and he wanted to check out who the fuck was making the audiences laugh so much.
Yeah, because he probably just wanted to fire that fool. He was like, who's making the audience laugh more than me?
Yeah, he was like, who's coming from me over here? And he met Ray and he really liked Ray. So he invited Ray to come do a few jokes in 1986 on The Tonight Show. And Ray received a standing ovation, which at the time he had been the only the third comedian to have that happen on the show.
Wow. That must feel amazing.
Yeah, I think part of it is he was really funny. He is super funny, but also he ended really cute. He told the audience something like it's been my dream to make people laugh on this show, and tonight you all made my dream come true. So of course, yeah, it was super, super sweet. It was the biggest moment of his career up until that point, and like we all know, Johnny's approval and the Tonight Show exposure means a lot in Hollywood.
Everything.
Yeah. The same year in 1985, he ended up getting booked for an episode of The Facts of Life in a little show called Golden Girls.
Hey.
Then came Family Feud. The show had been such a huge hit the first time around, CBS was desperate to give it another shot. But by this time, Richard Dawson had left such a bad taste with all the execs and everything that they didn't even think of asking him to come back to host.
That sucks.
I know, imagine. They started taking interviews with potential hosts when 31-year-old Ray came to their attention. And guess what brought Ray to their attention? Johnny Carson.
All right.
Yep. Ray was approached with a 7-year contract to host Family Feud after a single interview. The program premiered on July 4th, 1988 at 10 o'clock a.m. on CBS. Ray toured around the U.S. to promote the show on talk shows and around the comedy club circuit. Obviously, the public was comparing Ray to Richard Dawson straight off the bat, but he ended up winning people over with his down-to-earth, funny, approachable jokes.
And also, Ray is like younger. You said he's only 31?
Yeah, he's younger.
Richard Dawson was like an older, dirty old man.
Yeah, and Ray wasn't kissing contestants and shit, so you know. But there were like things that, so like Richard had his jokes that he would do on the show, you know, and they kind of become part of the show.
Yeah.
But Ray didn't want to imitate Richard, so he just started doing his own thing. Like, he didn't want to take any of those trademark jokes. Even though in the beginning, that's kind of what the public expected, like the same old jokes.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ray just ended kind of like doing his own thing. Like, he's kind of a short dude, so he started doing this thing where he would tell women like, oh, we're almost the same height, and then trade shoes with them, and then hosting the rest of the show in their heels. And the public likes shit like that.
Yeah.
He started also welcoming casts of other famous sitcoms to be on the show and compete against each other, which is a thing we see now on Family Feud.
Yeah.
Like the cast of Roseanne, the cast of Ellen. Now we've seen like the Kardashians and people like that go on there.
That's funny.
I know. I like that too. The show was so popular that on June 29th, 1992, they expanded the 30-minute program to 1 full hour.
That shit is an hour long?
Yeah, that's crazy,
God.
right?
Okay.
I don't think you need an hour of that. One of the little competitions on the show even got its own spin-off called Bullseye, which Ray ended up also hosting. So around this time, Ray was being seen on TV for a full hour and a half, 5 days a week.
Wow.
So he's definitely a TV staple.
Oh, this is like, all right, I just realized this is like the Price is Right length. So it's like, it's like a nighttime Price is Right.
Yeah, for sure. So Ray also then starts butting heads with the executive producers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He wasn't super into criticism or suggestions on how he would land certain jokes because he was concerned with his own comedy career. And he's out there hosting, but yeah, those are his own jokes. So he wants to tailor his own comedy.
Sure. But
the producers are concerned with the show itself. So they're just conflicting at this point.
Gotta see both sides.
Yeah. On December 18th, 1992, the show's creator, Mark Goodson, died of pancreatic cancer.
Oh,
R.I.P. Mark, at that time, was one of the only execs that was super loyal to Ray because Ray had come on and like helped revive his masterpiece. So once he passed, that definitely affected everything behind the scenes because now Ray had less people on his side.
Oh, so not only did he lose an ally, but he lost like the guy that's like highest up on the ladder.
Right, the most important ally.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, like who cares if 10 motherfuckers are against you as long as you got this dude on your side. Mark's son ended up taking over production of the show, which at this point was still doing good in ratings. And Ray was even nominated for a Daytime Emmy that same year.
Are we still in the 80s?
No, we're in 92.
Okay.
The show came back in 88, so we're 4 years into the second run. But as we all know, good times don't last. So midway through the 93 season, the ratings started to drop. CBS then canceled the daytime version of the show and just kept it going through syndication for a while. But syndication was also on the verge of cancellation, and most of the affiliates were dropping the show from their programming. So behind the scenes, everything started to fall apart, and what had been kind of tense was now being like elevated to super fucking tense.
Right.
They were trying to figure out how to sell the show for another few years and make sure that it remained on air. And so that meant to the executives that they had to make some big changes. So obviously they decided we got to change hosts.
Oh, okay.
Because how many changes could you really make to that show?
Yeah.
You know?
It's very simple.
Yeah.
When you change it, it's not Family Feud.
Exactly. So they decided to replace Ray with original host Richard Dawson. And that was in the hopes of bringing back ratings. So they spun it to Ray and they were like, we have to do this or the show is going to die.
They're like, you know that movie Jurassic Park where they brought back the dinosaurs? We about to bring back a dinosaur.
You were so concerned with figuring out whether you could do it, you didn't stop to think whether you should.
Da, 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 da.
End title. That's it. It's like a picture of Jeff Goldblum, like, and like a little dinosaur. So, anyways, still, Ray was super fucking hurt by this. He was hurt that he was getting fired, and then I think it stung a little more because they were bringing Dawson back.
Yeah.
Like, how bad are we doing? You guys got to bring back this fucking
dinosaur.
Sexual harasser. Ray's final episode was taped in February 1994. Like I said, he had been on edge with the staff, and especially more since it had been announced that he was going to be replaced. On the day of the final episode taping, in the bonus round, one of the contestants scored 0 points on all 5 of his answers.
Damn. What were his answers? What was the question?
It was like, what's your favorite fruit? He was like...
he was like macadamia nut. No.
A green bean. Ray responded to this dude, to this fucking loser, and he was like, you know, quote, I've done this show for 6 years, and this is the first time I had a person that actually got no points, and I think it's a damn fine way to go out.
Hey.
I thought I was a loser until you walked up here. You made me feel like a man. Imagine you just got dragged by
legend
Ray Combs. Then, allegedly, after signing off for that last episode and while ending credits were still rolling, Ray immediately pulled off his mic, walked off set, went to his dressing room, and left CBS without saying goodbye to anyone.
Damn.
Jumped in his car and drove home.
All right. And you know there was traffic on Beverly. Fuck.
The show then went on hiatus for a year before bringing back Richard Dawson. But by now, this dude, who had already been old the first time around, now he's older.
Yeah.
So it's not the same type of appeal.
Yeah.
And the show had already been struggling.
Right.
Meanwhile, after he was let go of Family Feud, Ray really fell off. He was a guest ring announcer for the WWF a few times because he had been friends with Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Was he making good money on the feud?
Yeah, I think he was making around $1 million a year or per season.
That's good money.
Yeah, for hosting a show that runs for an hour,
yeah.
You know? Yeah. Ray then showed up in an episode of In Living Color for a little bit and was part of a Family Feud video game for Super Nintendo.
Oh, probably getting royalties off of that shit.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
Yeah. On July 12th, 1994, Ray injured part of his spine in a serious car accident. He was in the hospital for over a month recovering, and there was a huge possibility that he was going to be permanently paralyzed.
No.
I know. He ended up recovering as much as possible, but this still left him with limited mobility and basically continuous pain.
Wow. And
he's
in his 30s, like late 30s now?
So it's 95 and he was born 56.
Okay, so 40s.
40s, yeah. He was then, from that point on, he was on a steady stream of pain medication.
Uh-oh.
The same year, he opened 2 comedy clubs in Cincinnati with his savings from the time he worked on Family Feud, but they quickly became unprofitable and failed. The next year, in 1995, Ray and his wife Debbie separated after 18 years of marriage and 6 children together.
Damn.
I know.
Ooh, Debbie got half that Family Feud money, though.
They attempted a reconciliation for a while, but it just wasn't working out.
Oh, man. I hate to see it. Like a long-ass marriage like that.
I know that. I don't know why that feels like extra painful.
Yeah.
Then in September 1995, the bank went into foreclosure on his family's house in Ohio.
What? How much could the house in Ohio cost?
I don't know, dude. But he's really fucking having a hard time here. It looked like also people on the E! True Hollywood story say that Ray was super generous with friends and extended family when he was at the peak of his fame. And then when it turned out his career wasn't going to be as stable, you know, it kind of bit him in the ass.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Family Feud officially ended its second run on September 8th, 1995, after the comeback of Richard Dawson wasn't what they fucking thought. R.I.P. Ray was trying to put his life back together after being fired, separated from his wife, and the serious car crash. He attempted to bring his TV career back and taped a pilot for a Ray Combs talk show, but it was never picked up by any network. The Game Show Network then became a thing, and Ray hosted a show called Family Challenge in 1996 for one season. He tried to bring as much energy as he could, but executives could tell that he just wasn't in a positive place anymore.
Uh-oh. It's when it's obvious to other people like that.
It's bad.
Yeah.
People who watched Ray host Family Feud and then this show noticed a difference in his demeanor and just overall stage presence because he was depressed. He had, he was just carrying the weight of like all these problems and he wasn't prepped on how to deal with it. In the early morning, in May 1996, Ray called his estranged wife, Debbie, estranged, not divorced, and started saying concerning things to her like, I love the kids, I love you, I love my parents. And she could hear like pill bottles. So she called 911 and the police rushed to his house and rushed him to the hospital upon finding him on the floor unresponsive.
Oh my God.
It was discovered that he was overdosing on Valium. Debbie then rushed to the hospital, and after Ray had been treated, they ended up letting him go.
Oh.
And so she was like, I'll drive him home, like I'll stay with him.
Yeah.
But on the way home, while stopped at a red light, he jumped out of the car in his socks and ran onto the Ventura freeway.
No way.
Yeah. A motorcyclist then pulled over, stopped, and picked him up. When they finally got back to his house, Debbie tried to clear the house of all of his pain meds, and Ray became super irrational and upset. The next week, police were called to Ray's home in Glendale over reports of a disturbance on June 1st, 1996. Once they got in there, they saw that Ray had destroyed most of the inside of his house and was found banging his head against a wall.
Wow. Okay.
After police arrived, Ray's estranged wife, Debbie, arrived and she told police about what had happened just a week before and disclosed that he had been suicidal.
Huh. Okay.
Ray then was taken by police to the Glendale Adventist Medical Center, where he was assessed by a doctor and placed on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. Which, when they do that, it's because you're suicidal, right? Like you're a danger to yourself or someone else.
That's a 5150. Yeah.
That's crazy. It was clear that he was completely overwhelmed. Early the next morning on June 2nd, 1996, just 14 hours later, Ray was found in the closet by hospital staff after committing suicide.
Oh my God.
He was 40 years old.
So young. Oh my God.
It's crazy, right? News hit the media and his former CBS executives who were completely shocked by the news. Obviously, people considered what the effects had been of letting him go from the show and whether or not this tragedy could have somehow been avoided. On June 7th, 1996, Ray's funeral was held in Glendale, and his body was then flown and buried in his home state of Ohio.
Oh.
He left behind his estranged wife and his 6 children from ages 7 to 18.
Wow.
I know. Following his death, it was discovered that he had been in deep, deep debt.
Ugh.
Debbie, who was still legally married to him, didn't discover any of this until after the fact.
No.
So at the height of his career, Ray was earning $1 million per season on the show. But he wasn't good at managing his money. And he owed money for his 2 failed comedy clubs. He owed $100,000 in back taxes, over $150,000 in loans and credit cards, and $470,000 on the foreclosed mortgage.
Oh God, that made my stomach hurt.
I know. The bank ended up completely foreclosing the family's home, and Debbie took to selling off photos of her husband, clothes, any signed memorabilia she had in order to make ends meet. She basically entered into a panic, completely overwhelmed by the burden that she was left.
He didn't have insurance?
I mean, I doubt it.
Because, I mean...
A life insurance?
Yeah.
But I think if you commit suicide, it doesn't even...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think that if you commit suicide, I don't think you get it.
Okay.
Because then I think people would just do that.
Right.
The Laugh Factory held a benefit for Debbie and Ray's children, which netted her around $10,000. Johnny Carson personally sent a check to Debbie for $25,000.
Hey.
Her local church then stepped in to help her and get her kids on Social Security, and she found work as a secretary.
Oh.
Family Feud then went on with new host Louis Anderson in 1998, and obviously has gone on with Richard Karn, John O'Hurley, and now the man, the myth, the legend, Steve Harvey. And that's the story of Ray Combs and Family Feud.
Damn, that's not what I thought this was going to be a sex scandal. I thought this was going to be about Richard
Dawson?
Dawson. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, right?
Damn. That's
I know.
sad.
I didn't know about that, about the Ray Combs thing. So sad.
Oh, man.
Such a fall. Like,
Yeah,
just
RIP.
such a steep fall.
You know what that makes me think of, though? Like, when you have someone in your life who not necessarily would be obviously depressed or like or sad or anything, but just going through a lot in their life. Just tumultuous, even whether it's good or bad, just a lot of changes in their life. I feel like you gotta be there for them.
Yeah,
Like,
just check up on them from time to time.
Check up, definitely. Damn.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder what his kids are doing. That's a lot of kids.
I know, me too. That was a lot of kids, huh?
Describe the weather with a word or phrase that would also describe your wife. Wet.
All right.
All right.
I got a story with some eerie similarities.
Ooh, I don't know what you're doing because you didn't know what you were doing yesterday.
I know, but but you gave me some options or some suggestions, and I took one of them because I'm doing David Carradine.
Oh, nice. I've always wanted one of us to do this story.
This one, actually, there was more to it than you would think.
Oh, good. I don't know that much then.
Okay.
Put on the Kill Bill music. Put on the Kill Bill soundtrack right now.
All right. So, yeah, this one's juicy as fuck. You guys, if you listen to this podcast, you probably know the end, sort of. So,
yeah.
So, you know what it is. But for David, there's actually not a hell of a lot of information out there. So I went off his Wikipedia, of course, and then branched off from there and read interviews from like the local news, some tabloids, and from his ex-wife and some acquaintances.
Ooh.
So David Carradine was born in Hollywood on December 8th, 1936. So
oh, damn.
He's a Sagittarius just like me. Which I actually don't know what that means, but
me either.
Steph, you sent me a little astrology thing, or you sent it in the group chat like last week, and so when I saw that his birthday was by mine, I was like, it kind of reminded me of that thing that you sent.
What was your thing? Was yours spot on?
No, it wasn't. It
wasn't?
It was like
Steph, oh, you were starting a cult.
Yeah, Steph sent this thing where it was like, what would you do if you were on a desert island based on your sign?
Yeah. Yours was on point except for the cult thing, because it was like, oh, the Sagittarius has wandered off by themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sounds like me. But then it said, now they're going to start a cult.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that does not make sense. Mine was that I cooked dinner for everybody and then got salty when they didn't say thank you, which was hella on point.
Yeah, that's super on point. I totally saw myself more as the one that was like trying to make a radio work but won't tell anybody until it works.
That sounds like Nan, though. That was hers, right?
Yeah. The one that I thought sounded more like Nan was the one where it was like it delegates jobs to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
All right, anyway. So David is actually his stage name because his birth name was John Arthur Carradine, but everyone called him Jack because his father was also named John. You know, once in a work email at my old job, I jokingly quoted John F. Kennedy about like something, and I attributed the quote to Jack Kennedy, and one of my coworkers was like, I think his name was John. And I was like, you've seriously never heard someone call like someone named John Jack? And specifically JFK, like people call him Jack.
Jack, yeah.
And he was like, I don't think that's a thing. And and then I was like, it's like,
fuck that guy.
I was like, it's like calling someone named Robert Bobby or someone named William Bill, like Bill Clinton. And he was like, Bill Clinton's name is William.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the point of that story is that a man will take any opportunity to tell you that you're wrong, even when you're not.
Manspread.
Okay, so Big John was a famous character actor. John was in 227 movies and TV shows between 1930 and his death in 2009. So you didn't necessarily know his name during the height of his career, like throughout the 20th century. I mean, a lot of people definitely did know his name, but almost everyone saw him in something. And if you didn't know his name, you probably knew his face.
Yeah.
David's mom, Ardenelle, was married to John, and she had a son from a previous marriage named Bruce, who John adopted. John and Ardenelle had a ton of issues. John wanted to have a shit ton of kids. His father, Beverly Carradine, was a very famous Methodist preacher and author, and he had at least 9 kids that we know of for sure. So John was all about that baby making life, just like his dad.
Oh.
But after David was born, his mom, Ardenelle, started to have miscarriage after miscarriage every time she got pregnant.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Then somehow John found out that she'd gotten several back alley coat hanger abortions after David, which rendered her unable to carry a baby to full term.
Oh, wow. That's so dangerous.
Yeah. That's why we got to protect reproductive rights, everyone.
Yep.
So this started a huge problem in the marriage because John was fucking pissed that he couldn't have a whole ass litter of kids like he planned with her. So after 3 years of marriage, Ardenelle filed for divorce from John when David was 3. And even though David was a little tiny baby, he saw all the shit between his parents and it really affected him. When he was 5, he found out that his older brother Bruce wasn't the biological son of John. And between, first of all, his parents having this crazy marriage and constantly fighting and shit, then the divorce, and now this, it was all just too much to take for little David. And when he was 5 years old, he tried to hang himself.
What?
Yeah, something to keep in mind for later, I guess.
Holy shit, May. Are there child suicides?
That's what I was going to say. Just a little morbid, terrible fact here.
Yeah.
Just in case you were wondering, like me, the youngest reported case of
And me.
the youngest reported case of suicide was a 6-year-old girl from Oregon who hanged herself from a crib after being sent to her room by her mom as punishment.
How did they even know
That it was a suicide? Because she'd talked about killing herself before.
But how does a kid know to do that even?
Yeah, that was the other thing that was in the article that I read, where they were like, the way that she had tied it and stuff, it was clear that she knew that this...
saw it on a movie or something, right?
But then the question is, does a child know what death is?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You know, even if you're like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep forever. Do you really know what that means when you're a child, a 6-year-old?
Where did that happen? Sorry.
In Oregon.
Oh, now I'm going to get into a Wikipedia hole on...
Yeah, it's really sad. I did.
I actually never even thought about that. I just assumed I don't know, teenage,
It's extremely rare. I know a lot about it because I was in that Wikipedia hole. It's extremely rare before the age of 15 for a child to commit suicide.
I imagine. That's fucking crazy.
But there has been sort of a slight uptick because, bullying has gotten really bad, especially online bullying. So now you do see here and there one crop up for younger and younger children.
And now with internet and just the access to all the information we have, of course kids know how to do shit like that.
Right. That's
younger
that's
and
another
younger.
thing. It's easy to Google,
Wow. Wild. That's so sad.
Yeah. So David tried to hang himself, but John found him just in time and saved his life. David said, quote, "My father saved me and then confiscated my comic book collection and burned it, which was scarcely the point."
What the fuck?
But I mean, what, especially in the, what are we, in the 40s?
Yeah, he didn't know what the fuck to do.
Right. Anyway, so 5 years after the initial divorce filing, so baby David was 7 going on 8, the divorce finally finalized in 1944. John moved to New York to avoid paying alimony, but over the years, Ardenelle fought him in court over it until John finally landed in jail for a little bit.
Oh.
Which that must have been a little scandal. Renowned character actor John Carradine went to jail. Yeah. So John would end up getting married 3 more times and having 3 more sons. 4 of his sons, including David, became relatively successful actors. And the 5th, Christopher, was an architect who became VP of Imagineering for Disney. So the Carradines are a full-ass, legit-ass Hollywood dynasty, like a shittier version of the Barrymores. But
right.
Yeah, but they're, important.
Yeah.
David moved to New York with his dad, but it seems like John was busy with his new families. So David ended up bouncing around from boarding schools and foster homes and reform schools.
He didn't live with his mom?
He lived with his mom until they were like, okay, go live with your dad now.
Oh, okay.
But I guess that's a common thing. Like they're like, young men need their dad around.
Right. Oh, okay.
So I guess when things finally seemed like they were just not going to work out with his dad, David moved back to California with his mom and was able to graduate from Oakland High School. At San Francisco State, he studied drama and music theory before dropping out. Around this time, he was arrested for assaulting a cop, but in the whitest shit I've ever heard, he pled it down to disturbing the peace.
What the fuck?
To support himself, he collected unemployment and took portraits of bebés. But things were heating up on the war front here in the U.S., so David was drafted in 1960 at age 24. That same year, David married his high school sweetheart, Donna, and 2 years later, in 1962, they had a daughter named Callista, right around the time that David was honorably discharged. Although he did face the court-martial several times for shoplifting.
Oh.
So he might have low-key been a kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
Or at least he might have had problems with impulse control. Okay, so after he left the army, David was like, I'm going to try this acting thing for realsies. Because, he studied drama and his dad is a famous actor.
Yeah.
And this is when he adopted the name David so that he wouldn't be confused with his dad. By the next year, in 1963, David made his TV debut and started racking up TV credits. At the time, TV was jam-packed with a bunch of westerns, procedurals, Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock Presents type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Law and Order, where aside from the main cast, it's a different story every week with different characters and actors.
Right.
So that's what David was booking, one-off type shit on all these shows. Which, I mean, obviously it'd be nice to star in something, but he's still doing really great for himself.
Yeah, he's a working actor.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of actors would absolutely kill to have the career that he had at that point.
Totally.
Yeah, so he's booking gigs all the time. He's doing fine. He's doing great even. He even got a film contract with Universal. And by 1964, he's also doing Broadway. So he's definitely a working ass actor.
Nice.
In 1966, he had been co-starring opposite Christopher Plummer, love him,
Yeah.
in a play on Broadway called The Royal Hunt of the Sun. And that play had been running for quite a while and doing really well. So that was David's first real, for real big break. But he left that play when he was offered the lead in a Western TV series called Shane. This was a big deal because the movie Shane was a huge hit 10 years before, and now we're at the height of TV Westerns. So the expectation was that this was going to be a star-making role for whoever got cast in the role of Shane.
Huh.
So yeah, it's risky to leave a hit Broadway show, especially your first big hit. But if you are going to do that, this is probably a pretty decent bet.
Yeah.
So Shane premiered and it got crazy good reviews. But for some reason, it just didn't take off with audiences, and it only lasted 17 episodes.
Oh, no.
Just for comparison, Bonanza and Gunsmoke, they were on at that time, and both were on for literally 20 years.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
those just never fuck. Are they still on?
Yeah, Bonanza might still be on right now. And they were both number one shows for years at a time, and both top 10 shows for pretty much their whole runs.
Yeah.
So this TV version of Shane was a big time flop, especially given the success of the movie and when you compare it to those shows.
Yeah.
And it was a huge disappointment for everyone involved. So now David has this flop on his hands. But luckily in 1967, someone took a chance on him and he got cast in the TV movie Johnny Belinda. So Johnny Belinda is a remake, which I actually watched the 1948 film version for the first time about a month or two ago. I'd never heard of it before, and it's actually pretty okay. I wanted to watch it because it was crazy controversial at the time, and it was the first movie in the production code era of Hollywood that dealt with the subject of rape openly.
Oh, wow.
Because it's about a deaf and mute girl who gets raped and how the town ostracizes her when she gets pregnant as a result.
Oh, wow.
It's really interesting. So anyway, I was I kind of looked into the David Carradine version, and the girl is played by Mia Farrow in this version.
Oh.
So I was kind of I kind of want to watch this.
Yeah.
So I looked for it and found out it had been lost for damn near 5 decades.
What?
Yeah, they just recently found it, and now there's an archived version on a DVD somewhere. But
Oh.
I started thinking that could never happen. We're never gonna lose anything again.
Hell no.
That's never going to
It's
be
in
a
the
thing.
cloud.
Yeah, that shit is in the cloud. So anyway, David credits.
So could you find it? Did you find it?
No, I
then?
didn't find it.
Oh, okay. So it's just like
It's like out there. Yeah, it'll probably like end up getting re-released one day, or or streaming one day. Who knows? But
wow.
so anyway, David credits Johnny Belinda for rescuing his career. So I'm assuming it was successful. After that, David had really steady work in supporting roles, mainly on TV westerns, mainly playing the villain of the week. After doing this for a few years, David got really unhappy about the roles that he was getting. He was tired of playing the same thing over and over, these villains, so he stopped taking those roles, hoping to book different kinds of gigs, but instead he didn't book anything at all, and he didn't work for a year.
Oh, wow.
Also, his marriage to Donna ended in 1968.
Oh, no.
But then, in 1972, he was cast as the lead in Martin Scorsese's second feature film, Boxcar Bertha, opposite his girlfriend of 3 years, Barbara Hershey, and David's father, John, also makes an appearance.
Wow.
John and David worked together a few times, and the Carradine brothers all worked together a few times, too.
That's kind of cool.
It's real cool. And then there's, I forget one of his nieces is, like, kind of famous now, too. I can't remember her name, but, like, she's, like, another person that you know her face. Like, you've seen her in something.
Right.
Anyway, so... yeah, so Scorsese was coming off his first film, a little independent movie called Who's That Knocking at My Door? No one saw it, but he showed a lot of talent and he got a lot of buzz from it. So he was hired to direct Boxcar Bertha, and this was his first Hollywood movie.
Nice.
Boxcar Bertha got mixed reviews. I couldn't find any info on the box office, and I've never heard of it, so I can't imagine that it did like super well with audiences. But still, the reviews that I did see all praised David's acting. So even if it wasn't a hit, he was still very good in the Hollywood debut of a young, very buzzy, up-and-coming director. So he definitely had some eyes on him, and important eyes too, because like Scorsese was like running with like Francis Ford Coppola and like Brian De Palma and like Steven Spielberg. So definitely like those all that like cohort of directors all saw him. So, you know, it was good. It was good for him at the end of the day. Plus, he and Barbara appeared nude to promote the movie together in Playboy.
Oh.
And Barbara, I haven't seen Barbara really in anything besides Beaches. I like that movie.
Oh, I love Beaches.
And okay, so anyway, so Barbara and David had a son named Free that same year.
Free?
Free, yeah, like gratis.
Okay.
He changed his name when he got older, which like pissed David off, but yeah, Free.
Yeah, come on, bro.
So anyway, things are going pretty well. At the same time, David booked the lead role in an upcoming ABC TV series which would change his life called Kung Fu. Kung Fu is about a Shaolin monk named Kwai Chang Caine, played by David, who is the orphaned son of a Chinese woman and an American man. After Caine's master is murdered by the emperor's nephew, Caine kills him and is forced to flee China to the Old West United States in search of his half-brother.
Wow.
Every episode, he wanders through the Old West. He meets different characters who he helps defeat the villain of the week using his wits and kung fu skills before he moves on to the next town to continue the search for his brother. Which, I mean, if that's not an amazing plot, I don't know what is. Especially like...
Who wrote that?
I don't know who wrote it, but especially
that's
like
amazing.
If you're into martial arts, like it's which I am, like this is like is great.
What kind of a fool isn't into martial arts?
Right.
Do you not have eyes, ma'am?
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. So, okay. You want to know who wrote it? I don't know who wrote that, but this is, get ready for something. So,
what did you just tell me? I don't know who wrote that, but get ready for something.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. So,
the
series itself comes with a little behind-the-scenes drama because the idea for the show seems to have been stolen by Warner Brothers from Bruce Lee.
Of course. Come on. That's who I thought of immediately.
So Bruce had pitched the concept as a show called The Warrior to Warner Brothers back in early 1971. So a full, like almost a year and a half before. In 1971, Bruce Lee was basically a nobody. He'd played Kato in The Green Hornet for a season, but the show didn't really pop off in the States, so it was canceled. And he'd done one. I also read something really cute where he thought like the Green Hornet was a flop because in the US nobody watched it. But then like eventually when he went back to Hong Kong, he found out that it was like huge over there and it was actually called the Kato Show. And he was like, people were like stopping him on the street. They're like, oh my God. It was like the Beatles, you know? Anyway, so Bruce Lee had done one-off guest appearances on a handful of TV shows. So he pitches The Warrior to Warner's and they liked it, but they don't want it to be in the Old West. They want it to be in modern times. But Bruce is like, how the fuck am I going to walk around through modern day LA or New York or whatever, kicking people's asses with my kung fu every week when like in reality, they would just fucking shoot me or call the cops or, you know, whatever.
Right.
But Warner's didn't really want to risk making a Western in 1971 because they thought that they were basically like on their way out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, kind of.
Kind of. It's so funny because my dad loves Westerns, but he's like of that generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom loves Bruce Lee too.
Oh, he's fine.
Yeah, she's always like, oh my God.
Especially with when his hair is like real close, like cropped real short. He's so fine.
Yeah.
All right. So they especially didn't want to risk it because they weren't sure that Americans would be down to watch an Asian lead on their TV every week.
Oh.
Yeah. So
schmacism.
So there was some schmacism. So they told Bruce to kick rocks. And Bruce.
What year is this, May? Sorry.
This is 71.
Ricky Ricardo already did his shit.
That's different, though.
Yeah, he was married to a white woman.
Yeah.
So he's the pain.
So they told Bruce to kick rocks, and Bruce was like, fuck these fools. I'm going to go make movies. And he moved back to Hong Kong, and his career popped off approximately like 5 minutes later.
Yeah. Could you imagine he said no to Bruce Lee?
Yeah, at his like at like his peak of
hotness. Of like physical fitness. Yeah.
But in the meantime, basically as soon as Bruce left the meeting, Warner's was like, yeah, let's do the same ass show, cast a white guy. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at pictures of Bruce Lee now.
He has like 0% body fat. He's so fine.
He's tan.
Yeah.
His chin is all chiseled and shit.
So he left the room and they were like, all right, let's do that same ass show, cast a white guy and call it Kung Fu. And
it comes David Carradine.
Anyway, Kung Fu was a huge hit. There was even, back then, which surprised me, controversy about casting a white Irish actor to play a Chinese character.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, I guess it didn't affect things too much. And if anything good came out of it, I guess it's that real Asians were featured constantly and steadily as supporting actors. Like, I hate to take that consolation prize, but it was 1972, and at least it was something.
Mm-hmm.
Kung Fu was a lot like, I guess, maybe Law and Order is today, where you see, like, a lot of actors play guest roles before they were famous.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or even, like, old-timey character actors. Just a few people who were on it include Harrison Ford.
Wow.
Leslie Nielsen, John Barrymore, that's Drew's dad. And Drew's grandpa was on it, too.
Wow.
Barbara Hershey, of course, because, you know, her bae is starring in it. Yeah. Jodie Foster.
Wow.
Don Johnson, and the list goes on and on. This show was huge because I know when, like, my dad, who doesn't know anything about pop culture, when he first saw, like, Kill Bill, he was like, oh, that's Kane. And I was like, fuck. So this show was one of the first pieces of pop culture to popularize martial arts and Eastern philosophy in the West. A lot of tropes that we now see in pop culture stem directly from that show. For instance, calling a student grasshopper is specifically from a scene in that pilot.
Holy shit.
David didn't have any martial arts experience before this, so he relied a lot on his training as a dancer for the fight scenes.
Oh.
But later he became more proficient in Tai Chi and Qigong. So David instantly became a fucking icon and this will forever be the role for which he's remembered, even though he only did the role for 3 years because he quit in 1975 to pursue a movie career.
Oh, no.
At around this same time, his relationship with Barbara Hershey also ended following an incident in which David was arrested for attempted burglary and malicious theft.
What?
Listen to this.
Yeah.
David was high on peyote. And this is some 70s ass shit.
Yeah.
He got completely nude and started wandering around Laurel Canyon when he broke into a house by smashing a window. And he cut his arm and started bleeding all over the place. Inside, he found 2 young women and assaulted them, asking if one of them was a witch. This sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
A naked, high, and bloody Kane from Kung Fu breaks into your house and assaults you and accuses you of being a witch.
Yeah, he's going to drown your ass.
Yeah, right?
Mhm.
So, like you were probably just in your kitchen having a snack or something. Like, this is all happening. What the fuck? The cops ended up finding him by literally following a trail of blood since he was bleeding all over the place.
Oh my God.
He pled no contest and got probation. One of the young women sued him for $1.1 million, and she was awarded 20 grand.
Oh.
Better than nothing. And I guess,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take that shit. Unfortunately for David, his film career never really popped off.
Yep. I was going to say, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't leave a TV show at the peak.
Nope.
Why would you do that?
He was in some, especially because he left the Broadway show and it didn't work.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you play it safe a little bit?
Right. I think he was making $100,000 a year, which
That's
is
great.
It's not like huge money,
but back then,
it was good. It was like good. It was good money. And
how about you're on a big show that's a good show?
Right. Yeah.
Because I think what happens to a lot of actors and they get frustrated, and I get it, is like they fall into these shows because they're just so desperate for work.
Yeah.
And the show becomes a hit, but it's not like a show they actually like. Like it's like a cheesy sitcom or something.
And they're not proud of it.
Yeah. So, or like Modern Family, right?
Yeah.
Like what if you're trying to be a serious actor and that's the show you got cast on? And you fucking hate it. You want to leave. But that show sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah. And they gave him, he like directed a few episodes and, it just seems like a really good opportunity for him.
Yeah.
And also I'm sure if he would have renegotiated his contract, he could have made like a shit ton more money.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so
let us represent you, Doe. We could have talked David Carradine off the ledge at this point.
Yeah, for real. We could have just slipped him some peyote and then just been
relax. Yeah.
Been like all mystical with his ass and been like, you got to stay on this show. Give us 10%. He was actually in some cult classic movies though. He was in Death Race 2000 in 1975 and Cannonball in 1976, both racing movies. And he did a lot of those types of roles for the rest of his career. Basically the same thing over and over and over again. He did have one shot to kind of break out in 1977 when he was the lead in an Ingmar Bergman film. And Bergman is probably your favorite director's favorite director. And he only made 2 English language films, and this was one of them. So, like, this was huge.
Yeah.
And Bergman loved David. He said, as soon as they started working together, he said, quote, "I don't believe in God, but heaven must have sent him."
Holy shit.
Yeah. Bergman and David, they hit it off right away, and they quickly started to make plans to collaborate on more projects. But near the end of the production, during a scene which featured the butchering of a horse, David didn't want to participate, and they got into like a really heated argument on set. Bergman ended up yelling, quote, "Little brother, I'm an old whore. I have shot 2 other horses, burned one, and strangled a dog." So David was like, yeah, no, and they never worked together again.
Yeah. That's kind of scary.
Yeah,
dude.
it's real scary.
Yeah.
He was probably high on peyote when he heard that shit too, so he was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Fucking artists, am I right?
So they never worked together again. But also that same year in 1977, David gets married to a woman named Linda. And the next year they have a daughter named Kansas.
Oh, that's cute.
That's really cute, huh?
Yeah.
So David spends the next 25 plus years steadily working, doing supporting roles in B movies and on TV, even revisiting the role of Kane a couple times in some Kung Fu spin-offs. He's definitely a has-been. He completely fell off, but he was working all of the time. So he was getting that paper. And from what I understand, getting him wasn't cheap. So honestly, he probably didn't give a fuck what anyone thought about the roles he was taking. And he was arrested again in South Africa in 1980 for possession of marijuana. But
what? People get arrested for that?
But he claimed that he was framed because it was during apartheid and he had been seen dancing with Tina Turner. So he was like...
It was Tina Turner?
No, but like maybe the police planted it on him because he was dancing with a black woman, you know?
Oh, okay, I see.
He divorced Linda in 1983 and married 3 more times, bringing the grand total to 5.
Nice.
But then in 2002, Quentin Tarantino came calling. And if you're a has-been actor and Quentin calls, you fucking answer because he's about to change your fucking life.
Yep, he's gonna John Travolta your ass.
Yep, just ask John Travolta, ask Kurt Russell. Anyway, so Quentin had been working on the story for Kill Bill with Uma Thurman for a year or so, with Warren Beatty in mind for the character of Bill, which I really love that idea.
Yeah.
But when he sat down to write the script, the role of Bill got bigger and bigger and also required some martial arts, so he started writing it for David instead.
So before David even knew about it, Tarantino had been writing it for him.
Yeah.
That's gotta feel good.
Yep. He calls and he's like, I wrote something for you. Like,
I know,
you don't even hear it. Don't just be like, all right, I'm in. When is it? Let me clear my schedule.
Whatever you'd like, sir.
I was gonna make a joke about feet. Okay. The movie came out in 2003 and part 2 came out in 2004, and they were both critical and commercial smash hits. I fucking love these movies so fucking much.
Come on. Like,
yeah.
They're so fucking good.
Yeah. Anyway,
I watched one the other day. I think they're on Hulu.
They are?
Yeah, and I was just like cleaning my room and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch Kill Bill right now.
Hell yeah. That was one of my favorite Halloween costumes when I was Kill Bill, well, the bride. Anyway, David even got some Oscar buzz, but ultimately his career really didn't get that boost that most people had been predicting for him. But he went right back to taking supporting roles in approximately 7,000 B movies for what I'm sure was even more money than before, so he was fucking fine. In 2003, his 4th wife, Mary Ann, whom he'd been divorced from since 2001, was shopping a tell-all book. In her divorce decree back in 2001, she'd accused David of, quote, deviant sexual behavior which was potentially deadly.
Whoa.
Also in the court filing, she claimed that David was engaged in, quote, an incestuous relationship with a very close family member which permeated our whole marriage.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
All of this had gone pretty much unnoticed in 2001 because no one gave a fuck about David anymore.
Right.
So now in 2003, with David back in the spotlight coming off of Kill Bill, she was ready to air his dirty laundry. She accused David of being a, quote, off-the-wall alcoholic, which he did publicly struggle with alcoholism and once claimed that his main workout involved raising his left arm to sip his drink and his right arm to drag his cigarette.
Oh, that's the 70s vibe right there.
That's a vibe. I want to see that workout video.
Yeah, seriously.
None of this really affected David, though, because, like I said, his career didn't really pop off as expected after Kill Bill, so people weren't, like, super interested in the book she was trying to sell, and she didn't end up releasing it.
Huh. We're interested.
Then, on June 3rd, 2009, David was found dead at age 72 in a Bangkok hotel closet, hanging by a rope, wearing fishnet stockings and a wig. When officials first investigated the death, they had assumed that it was a suicide, and so did most of the world when the story came out.
Right.
But upon further investigation and following the autopsy, it was concluded that this was an accidental death resulting from autoerotic asphyxiation.
This is crazy. This is the first I had ever heard of autoerotic asphyxiation.
Same. Yeah.
And I remember going down that hole. I was like, what?
I was like, what is it? Why do you like
People
that?
like what?
So this, of course, scandalized the world because the details of his death made things that much more salacious and
it's like when
dirty.
you die and your secrets come out, dude.
Yeah.
That's one of those deaths.
Oof. And it's taboo. People love shit that's taboo, you know?
Fuck yeah, I love this shit. I'm so riled up right now. Autoerotic erotic drama.
That's our next podcast. So the public loves a sex scandal, especially involving something other than vanilla sex.
Yeah.
I think because it's so like foreign to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even I'm like far from a prude, like you said, this was the first time I'd ever heard of autoerotic asphyxiation. So if it was like foreign to me, it was definitely foreign to your Aunt Linda from Great Neck, who read about it in People magazine in line at Target, you know?
Oh, she was living for
And
this
she was
shit.
so living for that shit. But maybe it wasn't, though. Your Aunt Linda might be a freak, in which case, yes, Linda, get it, girl. Big old freak. Anyway, the story was fucking everywhere. And immediately after, David's fourth wife, who we know, Marianne, and his third wife, Gail, went on record that David was into self-bondage.
Oh.
Gail said that he often tied himself up to, quote, relax, and that, quote, he had his kinky moments. That's kind of an understatement.
Yeah, girl.
The photographs of the death scene were widely circulated in the tabloids and online, leading the Carradine family to plead with the public and the press to let them mourn in peace. David's funeral was a star-studded affair, and he was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park.
Yep.
David's widow, his fifth wife, Annie, filed a wrongful death suit against the production company of the film that David was working on at the time of his death in Bangkok. They allegedly violated the terms of his contract when David's assistant left him alone that evening, which I feel like is weird. Like, was it in his contract that he wasn't supposed to be left alone?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, Andy settled with the company, reportedly receiving $400,000. That movie is weird too. I guess that last movie that he was in, first of all, like, he worked all the goddamn time, like all the time. So after he died, like he still had like 14 movies that came out after he,
Holy
he died.
crap.
But that specific movie was like his character also had like fetishes, like weird fetishes.
Oh.
Which is weird. And in the last line of the movie or something, which is like the last line he ever spoke on screen, he says something like, all right, it was good to know y'all, like good to see you, goodbye forever, or some shit like that.
Oh
It
shit,
was just eerie.
that's scary.
Yeah, like the whole thing is like real eerie. Anyway, so now people were totally interested in David's private life, and they even went to a sex shop in the valley called Susie's Delight. The media went over there, where I guess David was a regular.
Oh.
The owner says, quote, he was quite knowledgeable about sex toys, and he also had items on back order, which unfortunately he will never be able to pick up.
Oh shit.
Susie. I don't like that, Susie.
Yeah. Damn, imagine having items on back order.
I
Like,
know.
How serious is your shit?
That shit is fucking hilarious, though. If I die, please do not publicize a vibrator I have on back order. That's fucking shitty, though.
Don't ever fucking back order a vibrator. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. You can't wait. You gotta be the first one to get it in 6 weeks when that shit comes back into stock.
I don't even pre-order like books and shit. Like, I'm not a nerd.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
that.
true.
I could wait. What the fuck? What kind of fucking no-life motherfucker are you? Damn.
The Carradine family attorney, Mark Geragos.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's our boy right there.
Publicly speculated that David may have been killed by an underground kung fu sect of assassins.
Oh my god, Mark Geragos, you fucking joke.
Doesn't that sound like kind of off the wall for a serious person to... Anyway.
To actually say out loud,
Yeah.
even? Yeah.
But, I mean, the part of it is that the family refused to believe the official results of the investigation.
Yeah, that sucks.
And in 2010, Marianne started shopping her book again, and this time it was picked up. In the book, she does say that she believes that David was murdered because she says that, yeah, he was into bondage and choking to the point of orgasm, but never, ever alone. She said he would never, quote, fly solo. She speculates that given that this happened in Bangkok, where it's relatively easy to get a sex worker, that maybe something went wrong with a partner who either purposely or accidentally killed him and the other person took off.
Like manslaughter, not like murder.
Well,
Like accidental, right?
maybe, but she says that David also, like, he always wore expensive watches. He always carried a lot of cash.
Oh.
Like, maybe someone was like, all right, I'm going to rob him.
them. Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Whatever the case is, she just doesn't buy the autoerotic asphyxiation thing.
Hmm.
But I mean, it kind of makes sense though. Like, if he was into that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right. So Marianne, she doubles down on the allegations of incest, and says that it was with a much younger relative whom she caught him with, and as a result urged David to seek counseling.
But she doesn't say who or anything.
No.
Wow.
But she ultimately left him because the alleged incest caused flashbacks of her own abuse as a child.
Oh, wow.
I want to point out that she's the only person who's made these incest claims, and she's clearly dealing with her own trauma.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
So we don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she relied on celebrity psychic John Edward, who I completely forgot about. I feel like he needs an episode. But yeah, she relied on him to write the book.
Oh.
So as a skeptic, that sets off some red flags for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Whatever happened, David went out with a bang doing what he loved, which is a lot more than what most people can say. And that's the story of David Carradine.
That's a good one, man. Damn. Horny on back order. The David Carradine story.
I would watch that. I would watch that movie.
Hell yeah, me too.
He was rich as fuck, apparently.
I'm sure. I mean, it sounds like he was fucking working.
Yeah, he was working all the time. He had like a Ferrari, and I read a story about he would drink in the same bar every day when he wasn't on set for a movie.
Same, dude.
And the one of the bartenders there was like, yeah, he came in every day, RIP, and would order an espresso and like a double shot of something, like an Italian liqueur or something. And she says he'd spend like $60 to $80 a day, and he'd always tip like $1 or $2. And she said that one day, like, she was like shaking her head, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I gotta put gas in my Ferrari."
Fuck you, bro. Ew, I hate when people do shit like that. All right. That was this week's episode. Thank you guys for listening. Sorry if our hot topics are outdated. Your girl's on vacation.
Hey.
Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Drama Club Pod. Hit us up on the website dramaclubpod.com.
And on the hotline, 505-539-0556. Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you to everyone leaving tips in the tip jar.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
You guys are the real MVPs. Send us a postcard at our P.O. box, and we'll talk to you on Monday with an Afternoon Delight episode.
Bye.
Bye.
However, whatever with your helmet.